When I was growing up, I always felt like I was different from my family. My name is Jenny, and my family has a long history of owning restaurants. My dad, Joe, is a big and loud man who runs our family restaurant very strictly. My mom, Linda, is always busy managing the staff. Then there's my older brother, Mike. He's seen as the perfect one to take over the business. I remember one night at dinner, the smell of Dad's famous roast filled the air. Mom was excited about a new recipe they were trying. She asked me if I'd like it because it had a fancy herb I enjoyed. I mumbled my answer while picking at my food. Mike laughed and said, "Who cares about herbs? The real excitement is the new grill Dad's getting for the restaurant." Dad nodded, looking at me, and asked when I'd start showing interest in the restaurant. I felt small and unsure, saying I liked being outside with plants and stuff. Mom and Dad didn't understand. They thought I needed a real job to fall back on. I'd always felt a knot in my stomach during these conversations. But there was one person who understood me, Grandma Rose. She lived in a small house with a beautiful garden. She was gentle and patient, unlike my parents. I often went to her house to escape the talk of the restaurant. One day, I found her in the garden, and she asked me to help plant tulips. I asked her why Mom and Dad didn't understand my love for plants. Grandma Rose looked at me with her wise eyes and said that my parents just wanted what's best for me. But they don't see the world like we do. There's magic in these plants in the earth. It's okay to be different. Grandma Rose's words resonated with me. Even as the pressure from my family grew, I clung to her wisdom. Mike, my brother, often teased me, calling me the gardener in a mocking way. His friends would laugh along, but I just brushed it off. They didn't understand the beauty I saw in every leaf, the peace in the morning dew. But I did, and when my hands were in the soil, I felt like I belonged. High school graduation felt like a crossroads. While my family buzzed with excitement over Mike joining Dad at the restaurant, I felt like a spectator in my own life. One evening, as we gathered in the living room, Dad talked enthusiastically about expanding the restaurant. He praised Mike for his upcoming role. Feeling invisible, I fiddled with a loose thread on the couch until Mom's sharp voice snapped me back. "What about you, Jenny? Ready to step up?" she asked, suggesting I work at the restaurant. It was now or never. "Actually, I'm not going to work at the restaurant. I'm going to study landscape design," I said, barely above a whisper. The room fell silent. Dad's face turned red with anger. "Landscape what now?" he barked, dismissing it as no career for me. Mike sneered, suggesting I just plant flowers for a living. My cheeks burned with embarrassment, but I stood my ground. "Yes, actually, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm good at it, and I love it," I declared. Mom looked confused and worried, urging me to be sensible. But I felt a surge of defiance. "It's not just playing in the dirt, Mom. It's creating something beautiful, something real. I'm not asking for your approval. But I am telling you, this is my decision," I asserted firmly. Dad slammed his hand on the table, his voice booming with anger. "If you choose this foolishness, you're on your own. Don't expect any help from us," he warned. I felt a knot in my stomach, but my voice remained steady. "Fine, I'll do it on my own." Grandma Rose, who had been quietly knitting in the corner, finally spoke up. Her voice was calm but carried weight. "Joe, let the girl follow her heart. She's got a gift, and it would be a sin to waste it," she said, her eyes fixed on Dad. Dad let out a frustrated grunt, turning away. "Fine, do what you want. But don't come crying to us when it all falls apart," he muttered. As I turned to leave the room, my heart pounding, Mike called out after me with sarcasm, "Good luck, gardener. Let's see how far those flowers get you." Stepping into college life felt like diving into deep water. It was thrilling yet daunting. I, Jenny, was far from the familiar paths of my family's expectations, ready to carve my own way in the world of landscape design. I still remember the buzz of the first day in class, the room swirling with the energy of eager students. I found a spot in the back, trying to shrink into the shadows. That's when Zoe, a girl with fire engine red hair and eyes full of mischief, dropped into the seat next to me. "Hey there, newbie. I'm Zoe. a first-timer in landscape design. She introduced herself. I gave a shy nod. Yeah, I'm Ginny. It's all a bit overwhelming. So's laugh was loud and genuine. You'll fit right in. Wait till you get your hands into the real dirt. It's epic. What dragged you into this world? She asked. I hesitated, the memory of my family's disapproval still fresh. I've always loved plants, the outdoors. It's where I feel right, you know? Her grin widened. Perfect place for you then. Classes were a whirlwind of learning and creating. I absorbed things like a sponge, from the science of soils to the art of design. I was finally speaking a language I loved. After one particularly intense session, Mr. Davidson, our professor, a man as tall and sturdy as an oak, called me over. Jenny, your designs. There's something else. You've got a real knack for this, he said, his voice serious. Mr. Davidson's encouragement stunned me. Really, thank you, Mr. Davidson. I'm just trying to do my best, I replied humbly. Leaning forward, his eyes piercing, he said, there's potential in you. Don't let it go to waste. Push harder. His words became my mantra. I moved into a studio, my designs becoming more ambitious, more expressive. It was exhausting but exhilarating. But even in those moments of joy, a part of me yearned for my family. Despite everything, one quiet evening, I gathered the courage to call home. The phone rang, each tone heavy with anticipation. Finally, Mom's sharp voice came through. What do you want, Jenny? Her tone stung, but I pushed on. I just wanted to check in, see how everyone is, I said. She snorted, her voice dripping with scorn. Oh, now you care. After running off to play in the dirt, abandoning your own family. Clenching my teeth, I fought to keep my voice steady. I didn't abandon anyone, Mom. I just chose a different path. Her laugh was bitter. A dead-end path, you mean? Don't expect us to be here waiting when it all crumbles around you. The call ended soon after, leaving a sour taste in my mouth, but also fueling a fire in me. I dove back into my work with a new intensity, determined to prove not just to my family, but to myself that I was on the right path. Life has a way of throwing curveballs, and mine came in the form of a phone call during my final year of college. It was Aunt Clara, my mom's sister, her voice shaky and strained. Jenny, it's about your Grandma Rose. She passed away last night, Aunt Clara said, her voice cracking with emotion. I felt the ground slip away beneath me. Grandma Rose had been my rock, the one person who believed in my dreams. Losing her felt like losing a part of myself. The funeral was a somber affair. My family was there, all stiff and formal. Dad, Mom, and Mike looked like strangers to me. After the service, I overheard Mom talking to Aunt Clara. I still can't believe she left that house to Jenny. What's she going to do with it? She can barely take care of herself, Mom said, her voice dripping with disapproval. I felt a surge of anger, but I bit my tongue. I didn't want a confrontation, not there, not then. The will reading was a few days later. Grandma Rose had left me her house, the beautiful garden haven where I had spent countless hours. My family was shocked, their whispers sharp as thorns. Why would she leave it to Jenny? She's never around anyway, Mike muttered under his breath. Dad's face was like thunder. This is ridiculous. That house could have been sold, put money into the restaurant, he said angrily. I stood up, my voice steady but firm. Grandma knew I loved that house, that garden. It was where we spent so much time together. I'm going to keep it, just as she wanted. Mom's response was cold and harsh. So you're just going to live there alone? Playing in the dirt? What a waste. Their words stung. But I had made up my mind. I moved into Grandma's house, immersing myself in the garden she had loved so dearly. I started renovating the place, pouring my heart into every plant, every flower bed. As the months passed, I transformed Grandma's garden into something truly special. It became my sanctuary, a place where I could be myself, away from the judgment and expectations of my family. The day the invitation to Mike's wedding arrived at my doorstep was a day of mixed feelings. It was a fancy piece of paper, golden letters against a white background, representing a part of my life I had left behind. Staring at it, I felt a storm of emotions churn inside me. I decided to go, but on my terms. I dressed in a way that felt true to me, elegant but simple, a far cry from the dirt-stained clothes I used to wear. As they entered the restaurant, the sights and sounds of my past life engulfed me. Spotting my family across the room, Mom, Dad, and Mike, all dressed up and looking like a picture-perfect family, I braced myself and walked over. Jenny, I didn't think you'd accept the invitation. Mom's voice was sharp, cutting through the noise. I came to see Mike get married. It's a family event, isn't it? I replied, trying to keep my voice level. Mike glanced at me, his smirk familiar and unwelcome. What's the matter? Ran out of bushes to trim. Decided to play dress up for a change. I felt a familiar sting, but I brushed it off. I'm just here to wish well, Mike. It was then that his bride, a tall woman with a haughty look, chimed in. Oh, this is the infamous gardener sister. Did you manage to scrub the dirt from under your nails, dear, or is it your natural look? Her words were sharp and mocking, hanging in the air. I clenched my jaw, refusing to let her see how deeply they cut. I clean up just fine, thanks for asking. Congratulations to you both. Dad's eyes were cold, his voice colder. Your being here doesn't erase the past, Jenny. You chose your path. Their words were like thorns, but I had grown a thick skin. I'm not here to rehash old arguments, just wanted to wish Mike a happy married life. I was quickly ushered to a small table in the corner, away from the family. Sitting there, I could feel the curious stares and hushed whispers. That's the gardener, they whispered, the black sheep of the family. But as I sat there, a sense of pride welled up in me. Yes, I was the gardener, the one who had dared to follow her own path. I was no longer the shy, unsure girl they remembered, but a woman who had found her strength, who had bloomed in spite of them. My discomfort only grew as the evening stretched on. Sipping my drink, I tried to make myself invisible. But that plan fell apart when I caught the eye of some guys I knew from childhood. Mike's friends, the same ones who used to join him in mocking me. Look who's here, the family's little dirt digger, one of them, Jake, sneered as they approached. I took a deep breath, steeling myself. Actually, it's landscape designer, but I wouldn't expect you to understand the difference. Their laughter was harsh, grating. Oh, listen to her. Thinks she's all high and mighty now, Chris added with a scoff. I bit back a sharp retort, my hands clenching under the table. I've worked hard for my success. My job is more than just playing in the dirt. Their amusement was cut short when an elderly man at the next table interjected, his expression growing increasingly disapproving. I've seen this young lady's work. The new park downtown, that's hers. It's outstanding, shows. The group was visibly taken aback, their smugness faltering. Muttering under their breath, they slunk away, their egos bruised. Emboldened, I decided to venture out from my safe corner, mingling through the crowd, dodging glances and whispers. That's when I overheard Mike speaking to a group of his friends. She's always been the odd one, more into her plants than real work, Mike said, his voice laced with a mix of amusement and disdain. His friend laughed loudly. Every family's got its black sheep, huh? Their words were like a slap, raw and stinging. I walked away, my heart pounding, reminding myself that their opinions didn't define me. As I weaved through the crowd, I bumped into my cousin Lucy, a quiet presence in our loud family. Hey Jenny, I've seen some of your designs. They're really something, she said, her voice sincere. I managed a small smile. Thanks, Lucy. It means a lot, especially today. Lucy looked at me, her eyes understanding. I never agreed with how they treated you. You're doing amazing things. I'm glad you stuck to your path. Her words were a small comfort amidst the thorns of the evening. We chatted briefly, a momentary respite from the tension. As Lucy drifted away, I returned to my corner, feeling the weight of the evening. The loud music, the clinking glasses, and the bursts of laughter around me felt like they were happening in a different world. I sat there, sipping my drink, longing for the celebration to end. The wedding night was winding down, its fancy aura overshadowed by my own tangled feelings. Just when I thought the night couldn't get any more surreal, the mayor, a distant relative of Mike's bride, took the stage for his speech. "Ladies and gentlemen, it's a delight to be here," he began, his voice booming across the room. "But tonight, I want to highlight a special guest among us, a true star in the world of landscape design, Jenny." Hearing my name, I almost choked on my drink. I stood up hesitantly, feeling like a deer caught in headlights. The mayor beamed at me. "Jenny here is the brilliant mind behind the transformation of our city park. She's a celebrated landscape designer who's won multiple awards for her incredible work. Let's give her the recognition she deserves." The room erupted into applause, a sound that felt foreign to me. Glancing at my family's table, I saw their faces, a mix of shock and embarrassment. Mike's bride leaned towards him, her voice dripping with disbelief. "Is he talking about your sister, the gardener?" Mike mumbled something, looking like he wished the floor would swallow him up. The mayor's praise continued. "Jenny's work has revitalized our city. She's a true talent." Amidst the clapping, I felt a surge of confidence. The mayor's words were like a light, dispelling the shadows of doubt and scorn from my family. Then, seizing the moment, I decided to speak up. "Thank you, Mayor, for your kind words. It's an honor to contribute to our city's beauty." I paused, my gaze sweeping over the crowd, settling on my family. "It's funny, isn't it, how life turns out? Mike, you and your bride are perfect for each other. Your shared talent for rudeness to others is quite remarkable." The room went silent, the air thick with tension. My parents, my brother, and his fiancée blushed deep red, their shame as visible as if I'd slapped them. Mom's voice cut through the silence, sharp as a knife. "Jenny, what are you saying?" "This is your brother's wedding," Mom interjected, her voice laced with concern. I met her gaze unflinching. "Just speaking the truth, Mom, something our family seems to struggle with." Mike stood up, his face red with anger. "You can't come here and talk to us like that." I held my ground, my voice steady. "I've earned my right to speak, Mike. Maybe it's time you all listened." The confrontation ended with Mike sitting down defeated, and the room slowly buzzing back to life. The mayor gave me a nod of respect before moving on. As I sat back down, the weight of the night lifted slightly. I had spoken my piece, stood up for myself in a way I never had before. I was no longer just the gardener or the outcast. I was Jenny, a recognized landscape designer, someone who had grown past her family's narrow expectations. After Mike's wedding, word got out about my success as a landscape designer. People were buzzing about the awards I'd won and the projects I'd aced. It felt like stepping into the sunlight after years in the shadows. And then my family came calling. One afternoon, while I was busy sketching out a new garden design, my phone rang. It was Mom. Her voice had a sweetness to it that felt out of place. "Jenny, darling, we've been hearing so much about your work. Your father and I are so proud of you," she said. I raised an eyebrow. "Really? That's a change of tune." There was a pause on the line. "Well, we were thinking maybe you could come over. We'd love to see you, catch up on things." I could almost hear the gears turning in her head. "Catch up or catch onto my bank account?" I shot back. Mom's voice faltered. "Jenny, that's not fair. We're family." The word family hit a nerve. Family-like when you all but disown me for following my dreams. Seems like family matters when there's money in the picture. Before she could respond, I ended the call. I wasn't about to let them back into my life just because they smelled success. A few days later, there was a knock at my door. Mike was standing there, hands in his pockets, looking everywhere but at me. "Hey, Jenny, can we talk?" he mumbled. I crossed my arms. This should be good. "What do you want, Mike?" He shifted uncomfortably. "Look, I know we haven't been great, but you're doing well, and I was wondering if you could, help me out a bit." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Help you out? After years of calling me the gardener and laughing at my ambitions? Mike's face reddened. "I didn't mean it like that. It's just that things are tough." I cut him off. "Save it, Mike. I'm not your ATM. You and the family made it clear how you felt about me. You can't just waltz back into my life when it's convenient." After he left, I sat in my garden, surrounded by the beauty I had created. My phone rang a few more times over the next week. More attempts at reconciliation from my family, but I didn't answer. I was done with their fair weather affection. I had built a life for myself, one that didn't need their validation or their greed. I was happy, successful, and free from the toxic ties that had once bound me. This wasn't just the end of a chapter. It was the beginning of a whole new book, my book, and I was going to make sure it was a bestseller, written on my own terms, in my own style. The new growth in my life was just starting, and I was ready for whatever came next.
Hey everyone, I'm Olivia Parker. I'm 25, barely scraping by in a tiny apartment while chasing my dream of becoming an investigative journalist. It's not easy, let me tell you, but I've always been a fighter, even when the odds were stacked against me. Growing up, everything was always about my sister, Megan this, Megan that. My dad, Richard Parker, the big shot businessman, couldn't see past his precious little princess. Me, I was practically invisible. I remember one time I got straight A's on my report card. I was so excited to show him. I ran into his office waving it around like it was a winning lottery ticket. You know what he said? "That's nice, sweetie. Did you see Megan's new dance routine?" Typical. Megan twirls in a tutu and dad throws a party. I bust my butt to get into college. Crickets. But hey, I've got my people. There's Zoe, my ride or die best friend since high school. She's the one who keeps me sane when the family drama gets too heavy. "Liv, you're worth 10 of Megan, and your dad's an idiot for not seeing it," she once said, over cheap wine and even cheaper takeout. Then there's Sam, my mentor at the local paper, a grizzled old journalist who's seen it all. "Kid, you've got the nose for news," he said to me just yesterday. "Keep digging, and you'll go places." Speaking of digging, I think I'm onto something big. There's this construction company that's been winning all the city contracts lately, and something smells off. I'm determined to find out what's really going on. I was at the office late last night piecing together some leads. It was well past midnight when I finally called it a night. As I drove home, my mind raced with possibilities. This could be it, my big break. Watch out, world. I muttered to myself, grinning at my reflection in the rearview mirror. Olivia Parker is coming for you. Little did I know the world had other plans. As I pulled into my apartment complex, I spotted Megan's car, parked crooked, taking up 2 spaces, classic Megan, probably stumbling home from another party. I shook my head. Some things never change. I trudged up to my apartment, fumbling with my keys, when my phone buzzed. It was Dad. Asterisk Olivia, your sister needs a ride home from the police station. Go get her, asterisk. I stared at the message, my blood boiling. Of course, Princess Megan needed saving again. And of course, Daddy dearest couldn't be bothered to do it himself. Asterisk story, Dad asterisk, I typed back. Asterisk give got an early morning. Maybe you should call her and Uber asterisk. I turned off my phone before he could reply. Tomorrow was a new day, and I had a story to chase. Little did I know, it would be a story that would change everything. That night, as I drove home from a late-night stakeout, my mind buzzed with the leads I'd uncovered. Then suddenly, headlights blinded me from behind. Before I could react, a car slammed into my rear bumper. What the hell? I screamed, gripping the wheel as my car spun out of control. The next few moments were a blur of screeching tires and shattering glass. When everything finally stopped, I found myself in a ditch, my car crumpled around me. Pain shot through my body as I tried to move. I fumbled for my phone, my hands shaking as I dialed Dad. "Dad, I've been in an accident. My car's totaled. I need help." "Olivia, it's 2 a.m. Can't this wait until morning?" "No, Dad, I'm hurt. I'm stranded. Look, I'm busy. Call a tow truck or something." The line went dead. I stared at my phone in disbelief, tears welling up in my eyes. Hours later, I found myself sitting in the ER, nursing a sprained wrist and a bruised ego when my phone buzzed. It was Zoe. "Girl, where are you? I've been trying to reach you all night." "So, you won't believe what happened." I told her everything, the accident, Dad hanging up on me, the hours I spent waiting for help. "That's messed up, Liv, but wait, there's more," Zoe said. "Your sister got arrested last night for DUI." "What? Megan?" I blurted out, completely stunned. "Yeah, and get this, your dad bailed her out immediately." Hired some hotshot lawyer too. My blood boiled. Of course, Princess Megan gets the royal treatment while I'm left to fend for myself. I'm coming to get you, Zov said, her voice firm. We'll figure this out together. True to her word, Zoe showed up, helped me gather my things, and drove me home. As we pulled up to my apartment, there was Megan, stumbling out of a cab. She looked worse for wear, but definitely not like someone who'd just spent the night in jail. Hey sis, she slurred, swaying on her feet. Rough night. I ignored her and went inside. The next few days were a blur of insurance calls and pain meds. But as soon as I could think straight, I threw myself back into work. If my family wasn't going to have my back, I'd make damn sure my career would. I started digging into the car theft. Something didn't add up. Why target my beat-up Honda when there were plenty of nicer cars around? I called my contact at the police station. Hey, Mike, any leads on my car? I asked. Sorry, Olivia, it's a dead end. Car was found torched on the outskirts of town. Torched? That's weird, right? Yeah, Mike said, lowering his voice. Between you and me, it's fishy. Matches the MO of a theft ring we've been tracking, but we can't prove anything yet. That was all I needed to hear. I started connecting the dots, following the trail. It led me straight to a local construction company, Bedrock Builders. As I was compiling my notes, a name jumped out at me, and my blood ran cold. Listed as a major client of Bedrock Builders was Parker Enterprises, my father's company. I sat back, mind reeling. Was this why Dad was so dismissive when I called? Did he know something about the theft? Just then, my phone rang. It was Sam from the paper. Kid, you better get down here. That story you've been working on, it just got a whole lot bigger. I grabbed my coat, my heart racing. Whatever was going on, I was going to get to the bottom of it, even if it meant taking down my own family. When I stormed into the newsroom, Sam was waiting for me, a grim look on his face. Your hunch about Bedrock Builders, it's just the tip of the iceberg. Look at this. He handed me a stack of documents. As I flipped through them, my stomach dropped. These are my father's company records. Yep, and they don't add up. Not by a long shot. The next few days were a whirlwind. I barely slept as I pored over the numbers, trying to make sense of it all. But the more I dug, the worse it got. Embezzlement, fraud, money laundering. My father was neck deep in it. And Megan. Her wild lifestyle, the constant emergencies that needed Dad's financial intervention. It was all a smokescreen. A way to explain away the missing money. I confronted Megan at her apartment. She answered the door looking even worse than before. What do you want, Olivia? The truth, Megan. For once in your life, just tell me the truth. Her face crumpled. I didn't know at first. Dad would just ask me to go out, be seen at expensive places. Then it got more complicated. Complicated how? I asked, my voice shaking. He'd give me credit cards, tell me to max them out. Said it was for tax purposes. I didn't ask questions. She looked down, ashamed. I felt sick. Did you know about the DUI? Was that part of the plan too? Megan burst into tears. I'm so sorry, Liv. I never meant for it to go this far. Can you forgive me? Forgive you? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. You and Dad left me out in the cold while you were living it up on stolen money. Money that ruined people's lives. Please, Liv, she sobbed. We can fix this. We can go to Dad together. No, I said, shaking my head. I'm done with both of you. I'm going to expose everything. Back at the office, Sam and I worked around the clock, building an airtight case. We cross-referenced bank statements, interviewed former employees, and tracked down shell companies. You sure about this, kid? Sam asked as we prepared to go to print. This story, it's going to blow up your whole family. I took a deep breath, staring at the headline on my screen. Parker Enterprises, a legacy of fraud. My family blew itself up, Sam. I'm just reporting the fallout. When I hit send, I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. Whatever came next, at least the truth was out there. The story broke like a tsunami. Within hours, national news outlets picked it up, and my phone wouldn't stop ringing. Dad tried to do damage control. He called a press conference full of righteous indignation. These baseless accusations from my estranged daughter are nothing but a desperate cry for attention. That's what my father said in his press conference, trying to deflect the truth. But the evidence was undeniable. Former employees came forward, corroborating everything in my story. It wasn't long before the FBI got involved, raiding the offices of Parker Enterprises. I watched it all unfold from a distance, feeling strangely detached. This was what I wanted, right? The truth out in the open. My career skyrocketed. I became the go-to journalist for corruption stories. I was invited to speak at conferences, offered book deals. But the success felt hollow. One night, Megan showed up at my apartment looking lost. "Dad's assets are frozen," she said, her voice shaking. I don't, I don't know what to do, Liv. "Figure it out, Megan," I replied coldly. "That's what the rest of us do." She looked at me, eyes pleading. "Can't we just start over? Be sisters again?" I stared at her, really looked at her, maybe for the first time in years. "No, Megan, we can't. Some bridges, once burned, stay that way." Months passed, and Dad's empire crumbled. He was indicted on multiple charges: fraud, embezzlement, tax evasion. The trial was a media circus, and through it all, I kept working, kept digging, kept exposing the truth. Then, out of nowhere, I got a call from the police. "Miss Parker, we've arrested the guy who stole your car that night. Turns out he was part of a larger theft ring. Thought you'd want to know." I thanked him and hung up, feeling dazed. It was like closing a chapter I'd forgotten was still open. A year to the day after my story broke, I found myself on stage, accepting the Pulitzer Prize for investigative reporting. As I stepped up to the microphone, I held the award tight. "This is for everyone who's ever been told their voice doesn't matter. For everyone who's been pushed aside, ignored, or silenced. Your truth matters. Your story matters. Never stop fighting to be heard." As I stepped off the stage, clutching my award, I felt something I hadn't expected: freedom. I had lost my family, but I had found my voice. And that, I realized, was worth everything. Now we want to hear from you. If you were in Olivia's shoes, would you have exposed your family's crimes, knowing it could destroy your relationships and potentially ruin their lives? Or would you have tried to handle it privately to protect them? This is a tough moral dilemma with no easy answers. Some might argue that family loyalty should come first, while others believe that exposing corruption is always the right thing to do, no matter the personal cost. What would you do in this situation? Would your decision change if it wasn't your family but close friends instead? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your perspective on this complex issue. Hey there, I'm Amelia, 28, a marketing exec with a story that'll make your head spin. At work, I'm on fire, leading campaigns that have clients singing my praises. But behind the power suits and killer presentations, there's a whole lot of baggage I've been dragging around. It all started when I was 15. My mom passed away suddenly, leaving just Dad and me to figure out life without her. Those were some dark days, but Dad stepped up big time. He came to all my soccer games, helped me with homework, even tried to braid my hair. Keyword, tried. We became this unstoppable duo, just Dad and me. Fast forward to last week. I'm out grabbing coffee with my bestie Megan when she brings up my love life, or lack thereof. "Amelia, when are you going to get back out there? It's been, 2 years since Tom." I nearly choke on my latte. "Megs, you know why. That relationship was a nightmare." I know, she sighs, "but not every guy's like him." I stir my coffee, thinking back. Tom had been charming at first, showing up at work with flowers, surprising me with sweet gestures. But then he got possessive. Megan's face darkens. Yeah, the constant texts, getting mad if you hung out with friends, telling you your work clothes were too revealing. It was like he was trying to control every part of you. I smile gratefully at Megan. "Thanks to you and your midnight ice cream runs, I made it out." Work has been good though, especially since Jason joined the team. He's a total sweetheart, always has my back during presentations. I've caught him looking at me a few times, but after Tom, I'm just not ready. Then my phone buzzes. It's Dad. "Hey, sweetie, got a minute?" "For you?" "Always. What's up?" He pauses, and I can practically hear the grin in his voice. "I've got some news. I'm engaged." I nearly dropped my phone. "Dad, that's amazing. Tell me everything." He laughs, sounding younger than he has in years. "Her name's Caroline. She's 40, works in publishing. We met at that charity golf tournament last month. You know, the one you couldn't make." We talk for a while, and I find myself genuinely happy. Dad deserves this. "So when's the big day?" I ask. We're thinking fall. Actually, I was hoping you'd help with some of the planning. Are you kidding? I'd love to. Over the next few weeks, though, things start to feel off. Dad's being vague about certain details, rushing off my questions about the guest list or the best man. Don't worry, sweetie. Caroline's handling most of it. I try to brush it off, but I get that nagging feeling. The same one I had when things started going south with Tom. But this is Dad, right? My rock through everything. He wouldn't keep secrets from me, would he? Then one afternoon, I'm out for lunch with Jason, picking at my salad while he talks about some new campaign strategy. I'm only half listening, my mind spinning with questions about Dad's sudden secrecy. Earth to Amelia, Jason waves a hand in front of my face. You okay? You seem a million miles away. I'm about to answer when I catch a snippet of conversation from the table behind us. Can you believe David's having his daughter's ex as his best man? Talk about awkward. My fork clatters to my plate. Jason looks at me, concerned. Amelia, what's wrong? I hold up a hand, my heart pounding as I strain to hear more. I heard it was pretty messy between them. Tom, right? Guess he and David are best buds now. The room starts to spin. Jason's saying something, but I can't hear him over the roaring in my ears. Tom, best man, Dad. I'm on my feet before I know it, mumbling some excuse to Jason. Moments later, I'm in my car, speeding toward Dad's place. I burst through the front door without knocking. Dad steps out of his study, surprised. Amelia, what's wrong? Is it true? My voice shakes. Is Tom your best man? The color drains from his face. How did you? So it is true. I feel sick. How could you? Dad's expression hardens. Now, Amelia, let's not blow this out of proportion. That was years ago, he says, dismissively. People change. Tom and I have become good friends through our new business venture. He's not the same person he was. I can't believe what I'm hearing. So what? Your new friendship trumps what he did to me? Oh, come on, Dad scoffs. That was just youthful drama. You're both adults now. Can't you put it behind you? Without another word, I turn and walk out, ignoring him calling after me. I drive aimlessly for hours, finally ending up at Megan's. She opens the door, takes one look at me, and pulls me into a hug. Oh, honey, what happened? Through tears, I spill everything. Megan listens, her face growing darker with each word. That manipulative bastard, she mutters when I finish. Both of them. My phone buzzes. It's Jason, checking if I'm okay. I text him to come over, and when he arrives, I rehash the entire story. Jason's usually cheerful face is serious. Amelia, I hate to say it, but your dad's behavior is toxic as hell. Megan nods. He's gaslighting you, sweetie, making you doubt your own experiences. But he's my dad, I protest weakly. He's always been there for me. Now he's choosing your abuser over you, Jason says gently. That's not okay. They're right, and I know it. The dad I thought I knew would never do this. This person, he's someone else entirely. I can't go to that wedding, I say finally. I won't. Megan squeezes my hand. We've got your back, no matter what. Jason nods. Your mental health comes first. If your dad can't see that, it's his loss. Sitting there, surrounded by my true support system, I feel a weight lift. This isn't okay. None of it is. But I'm not alone, and I'm done letting toxic people, even family, dictate my life. The next few weeks are a nightmare. Dad goes nuclear blasting me on social media and to anyone who will listen. To him, I'm a selfish, ungrateful daughter who can't be happy for her poor widowed father finally finding love. My phone lights up with messages from relatives I haven't heard from in years. How could you do this to your father after everything he's done for you? You're tearing the family apart. I want to scream. They don't know. They don't understand. Work's not much better. I overhear whispers in the break room and see people go silent when I walk by. It's high school all over again, and I'm the outcast. One day, I'm grabbing coffee when I hear Susan from accounting murmur. She's just jealous because her ex upgraded to her dad. The mug slips from my hand, shattering on the floor. Everyone turns to stare. I freeze, humiliated, until suddenly Jason's there. All right, show's over, he says loudly. Don't you all have work to do? He guides me back to my office, closing the door behind us. You okay? He asks softly. I shake my head, fighting back tears. I don't know how much more of this I can take. Jason's quiet for a moment. You know, my sister went through something similar. Her ex, He was a real piece of work. When she finally left him, half the family turned on her. What did she do? Therapy, he says simply. Helped her see she wasn't crazy, that she deserved better. 2 days later, I'm sitting across from Dr. Evans, pouring out my heart. She listens in a way no one has in a long time. It's hard. Some days I want to cave, to apologize just to make the drama stop. But then I remember Tom. How it felt to lose myself. Never again. Jason has been amazing through all this. He shuts down gossip at work, brings me coffee on rough mornings. There's something there, but I'm not ready. Not yet. As Dad's wedding day approaches, the pressure intensifies. Caroline even shows up at my apartment, pleading with me. It would mean so much to your father, she says. Can't you put aside your differences for one day? I take a deep breath. Caroline, I'm sorry, but no. My mental health isn't something I'm willing to compromise on. Not anymore. That night, I'm scrolling through my phone when an ad pops up. Discover yourself in Thailand. Suddenly, I know what I need to do. The next morning, I march into my boss's office. I'd like to take some personal leave. I say, 2 weeks, starting on the 15th. My boss looks at me over her glasses. The 15th. Isn't that your father's wedding day? Yes, I answer steadily. I think it's time I did something for myself. She nods, understanding in her eyes. Approved. You've more than earned it. I book my tickets that afternoon, and as I click confirm, a weight lifts off my shoulders. For the first time in months, I feel excited. That evening, I meet Megan and Jason for drinks, and their eyes go wide when I tell them my plans. Thailand. Megan squeals. Girl, that's amazing. Jason grins. I'm proud of you, Amelia. This is a big step. I raise my glass to new beginnings and to friends who stand by you no matter what. Stepping off the plane in Thailand, I feel like a new person. 2 weeks in this beautiful place have done wonders for my soul. The chaos of the past few months seems like a distant memory. As I wait for my luggage, my phone buzzes. Megan. Total disaster. Dad got drunk and spilled all your dad's dirty laundry. Turns out Mr. Perfect had a lot to hide. Caroline bolted before they even said, I do. Oh, and guess what? The business venture went belly up. Tom screwed it up big time. I hang up feeling nothing, no anger, no satisfaction, just closure. Months fly by and work is booming. I nail a huge presentation and am called into the boss's office. Amelia, we're promoting you to creative director. You've earned it. One day, after a talk I give to interns on workplace dynamics, a young woman approaches me, eyes shining. Your story inspired me to leave my toxic boyfriend. Thank you. Soon, I start mentoring young professionals, sharing my journey. It's healing in ways I never expected. Then, out of the blue, Dad shows up at my apartment. He looks older, defeated. Amelia, honey, can we talk? He asks. I let him in but keep my distance. I'm sorry, he starts. I made mistakes, but Tom, he manipulated me, and Caroline. Stop. Just stop, I say, holding up a hand. You're still not taking responsibility. He deflates. I just want my little girl back. I take a deep breath. Dad, I'm not that little girl anymore. I'm a woman who's learned to value herself. I don't need your approval or your presence in my life. I wish you the best, but this is goodbye. Before I know it, I'm turning 30. Megan and Jason throw me a surprise party, and as I look around at all the smiling faces, I'm overwhelmed with gratitude. While cutting the cake, Megan pulls me aside. Hey, did you hear? Tom got arrested for fraud, and your dad? He's facing an audit for that failed business. I pause, fork halfway to my mouth. Wow. You okay? Megan asks, concerned. I think for a moment. Yeah, I am. I don't feel happy about it, but what goes around comes around, huh? 2 years ago, I was lost, scared, letting others define my worth. But today, I'm standing here, surrounded by real love and support. I'm proud of who I've become and the boundaries I've set. To all of you who've been part of this journey, I say, raising a toast, thank you. And to anyone out there struggling, it gets better. You're stronger than you know. So, the story's over, but I've got a question. Was I right to cut my dad out of my life completely, or should I have given him another chance? It's not an easy call, is it? On one hand, family is family, but on the other, toxic behavior is toxic behavior, no matter who it comes from. What would you have done in my shoes? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.
What do you mean I'm fired? I couldn't believe it. For 20 years, I worked at the company run by my in-laws. Then one day, my husband casually told me I was fired after my father-in-law passed away. Why? I asked, confused. It's because Catherine is taking over the company, he said. Wait, even if Catherine takes over, don't we still need someone to handle the accounting? I questioned. Catherine's boyfriend is going to handle that. You're no longer needed, he replied. I was in shock. Catherine smugly said to me, you should know your place, especially when you're so arrogant despite being an outsider. Enjoy your jobless life from now on. Lol. When Catherine came back, I felt not only left out as a family member, but also unappreciated for my 20 years of hard work at the company. All my efforts seemed wasted. My father-in-law never openly praised me, but if he thought my ideas were good for the company, he would use them. But with Catherine, who seems to see me as an enemy in charge, things probably won't be the same. I no longer have any attachment to such a company. All right then. I hope you all work hard for the company's survival. I told Robert and the others and decided to part ways with the company. My name is Emily. I've always been good at managing money. I studied accounting in college and was hired as an accountant at a major company. It was when I got used to the job that I met Robert, who was younger than me. We met at a bar where he shared that he was helping out with his parents' recycling business. Talking to Robert, who was different from my career-driven colleagues and a bit indecisive, felt refreshing. Robert seemed to like me, and we exchanged contact information, starting to go out for drinks together. As we spent more time together, Robert began sharing about his family, especially his assertive sister, Catherine, who wouldn't settle for anything less than being the best. Catherine went to college, studied business, and worked at a regular company after that. But she didn't help out with the family recycling business. She thinks the recycling business is too plain and can't boast about it to her friends. Oh, Catherine has always done whatever she wanted. Although he sounded exasperated, Robert seemed to care deeply about Catherine. As we shared stories about our families, we grew closer. After dating for a while, Robert proposed to me. I couldn't imagine being apart from him and immediately said yes. I have a favor to ask, Emily. Once we're married, I want you to quit your current job and help with the family business, the recycling business. My mother has been handling accounting, but she hasn't really studied for it. You're an expert in that area, right? I want you to handle our finances. I had grown a bit tired of working for a large company, so the idea of working for a family-run business seemed appealing. I left my job at the major company. As soon as we got married, I started working as an accountant for Robert's father's company. Upon reviewing the books, I realized that my mother-in-law, who had no formal training in accounting, had made numerous mistakes. I began by cleaning up the records and overhauling the company's finances. Eventually, I understood the workings of the recycling business and identified areas where we could cut costs and boost sales. Robert, I have something I want to discuss with you, I said, deciding to consult him about the cost-cutting and business plans I had been developing. Robert quickly skimmed through the materials I had prepared and said, "These are great ideas, Emily. With this business plan, our sales should increase. I'll let Dad and Mom know about it too." My proposal was adopted, and to push forward the cost cuts and the new business plan, I began working tirelessly, even sacrificing sleep. Thanks to these efforts, the company's performance steadily improved, and we were able to hire new employees. As the company thrived, the locals started taking notice. I actively engaged with the community, and our business grew as a community-based store. Time flew by, and before I realized it, 20 years had passed since I joined the company. While the employees and locals grew fond of me, Robert and my in-laws seemed to take my dedication for granted. "Emily, dear, aren't you working too hard? Are you getting enough days off?" A local lady who lived nearby asked, but Robert just laughed. No, no, she's passionate about her work, so she's fine. Even if she gets a day off, she doesn't have any significant hobbies anyway. Haha. I've known about this company since Robert's parents started it, but its growth is thanks to Emily, right? You should at least give her a big bonus. The local lady suggested. She's my wife, so she doesn't need a bonus. Living off the company's money is more than enough, Robert replied dismissively. Despite the concerns of those around me, I continued to work hard for the company. I found fulfillment in my job and being involved with the community. I wasn't bothered by the lack of days off or bonuses. What concerned me was Robert's frequent nights out. Robert, you seem to be going out a lot lately at night. Where are you going? I asked. I'm working, expanding my network, he replied. If it's for business, can't you do it during the day? Stop nagging. I have my way of doing things. You're just a mere accountant, so stay quiet. I see, but if there's any issue at work, please let me know, I said. Yeah, got it? Robert responded, seeming annoyed and distancing himself more from home. One day, I received a phone call at home from a warehouse of one of our business partners. Emily, something terrible happened. Bob, who came to pick up the goods, suddenly collapsed. What? I exclaimed. My father-in-law, Bob, was rushed to the hospital, but due to the severity of his injury when he fell, he passed away. Mourning his sudden death, many from our business partners and the community attended the funeral. After a long time, I saw Catherine, who had moved out after getting a job. Catherine was taken aback by the grand funeral. This company seemed like it could go under any time. When did it grow so big? She asked. It's all thanks to Emily, one of the employees said. She turned the company around, increased the profit margin, and expanded the business. When profits increased, she suggested redistributing them to us, which boosted our morale. Seeing Emily work hard inspires us to do the same. What's so great about slightly improving the performance of such a small company? Catherine seemed upset that the employees were praising me and not paying attention to her. Whenever Catherine saw me, she treated me like a servant. Emily, I'm a bit thirsty. Could you get me a cold drink? I can make tea if you'd like, I offered. I said I want something cold. You might not understand since you've worked in a small company, but in big companies, the boss's word is absolute. I don't think you're my boss, though. Don't nitpick. In our family hierarchy, I am above you. After the funeral, Catherine called Robert and my mother-in-law into a room. Robert, Mom, I'd like to discuss our future as a family. Please come, she said. Glancing at me coldly, she added, this is a family discussion, so Emily, you're not welcome. Leaving me stunned, Catherine led Robert and her mother into another room. An hour later, Robert came out and casually told me, I've decided to hand over the company to my sister. Wait, what? I was shocked. It seemed the topic of the family discussion was about who would take over the company after their father's passing. Robert, who wasn't assertive enough to lead, was reluctant to become the CEO, and their mother didn't want to be at the forefront. Seeing their reluctance, Catherine declared that she would be happy to become the CEO, and they gratefully accepted her proposal. But Catherine has never been involved in this company. Is that okay? I asked. Stop with the annoying comments and stay out of family matters, Robert replied. I am family too, and I've been dedicated to this company. I argued. You're no longer an employee. What do you mean I'm fired? Even if Catherine takes over, someone will still need to handle accounting, right? Catherine's boyfriend is apparently going to handle it, so we don't need you anymore. This is unbelievable. Catherine smugly added, you should know your place, mispraised by others. Enjoy your unemployed life. When Catherine returned, I was not only treated as an outsider in the family, but also disregarded for my years of dedication to the company, treated as if it was nothing, and my job was taken away. The struggles and efforts felt worthless. Although my father-in-law never openly praised me, he always considered my suggestions beneficial for the company. With Catherine, who sees me as an enemy, at the top, that won't happen anymore. Have no more attachment to such a company. Enke then, good luck with the business, I said. Decided to part ways with the company and started a new life at home after seeing Robert off. However, a few months later, Catherine and Robert came to my house. Catherine, what's going on? I asked. What do you mean, what's going on? Our company's performance has been deteriorating ever since you left. You didn't hand over properly, did you? She accused. What? I did the minimum handover. Why do you think the performance dropped? Have you been reviewing the monthly expenses? You have to properly calculate the difference between revenue and expenses, or else you'll be in the red. I've always been doing that. I studied management, unlike you. Isn't the fundamental problem with the way the business is being run? Even if everything else is in place, if you're going to say that, then tell us what you've done. Catherine challenged. As I remained silent, Robert spoke up, trying to be patient. Emily, you must be getting bored just staying at home. If you help out the company, I can give you some allowance. So come back. Despite ruthlessly driving me away before, his sudden shift in attitude, wanting to call me back as the business becomes precarious, left me dumbfounded. I declined. I don't wish to return to that company anymore, I said firmly. Hearing my words, Catherine flared up. What? Despite being a full-time housewife, how dare you refuse like that? Do you not care about our family's company? You're the one who doesn't care about the company. I'm the CEO now. How am I not caring about the company? She retorted. Weren't you the one who originally said the company was plain and boring? You only took on the role because the title female CEO sounded cool and you could brag about it. Don't act like you care now. I said, standing my ground. Your boyfriend Zach told me during the handover. I said, so what? No matter the reason. I saved the company when there was no successor. Catherine replied, saved the company. I believe the current downturn is due to you, Catherine. What do you mean? While I'm at home during the day, I often hear gossip from the regular customers in the neighborhood. They've seen you with Zach out shopping and even traveling during work hours. That was for business trips, Catherine claimed. In the 20 years I worked there, I never once saw an accountant go on a business trip. Can you tell me specifically which clients you were meeting with? Why should I tell you? You don't work for us, she snapped. Your boyfriend Zach is quite talkative. During the handover, he boasted about how he could travel and shop using the company's money now that his girlfriend is the CEO. Catherine's face contorted in anger. Zach, he's such a blabbermouth. Employees won't follow a CEO who appoints her boyfriend as the accountant and misuses the company's funds. Isn't the problem with the actions of you and your boyfriend? My words made Robert glare at Catherine. Catherine, is this true? If it is, it's embezzlement. It's not like that. She's just making things up. Then let's see the books. Zach seemed to lack knowledge in accounting, so he probably wouldn't know how to cover things up. I'm sure there's evidence of misuse. At this, Catherine turned pale. Seeing her reaction, Robert started accusing her. Making you the CEO was a mistake. I'll report this to Mother and have you dismissed. No. I'm sorry. I was wrong. Please forgive me. Catherine pleaded, leaving in disgrace. The only one left, Robert, turned to me desperately. Emily, we need your help to save the company. Please come back. Like I said before, have no intention of going back. I replied, but we're married. No, Our relationship as a married couple is over. I thrust the divorce papers at Robert. What are you saying? If you divorce without returning to work, you'll be the one in trouble. How do you plan to live? He asked. Don't worry about me, I replied, showing Robert the employment notification from the major company I used to work at. After I was fired, I was on a job hunt. I found out that a former colleague had moved to HR. She remembered my performance and recommended me for reemployment. But that doesn't mean we need to divorce. No, there's a reason for the divorce. What? I had been worried about you coming home late since just before your father passed away. So I had a detective agency investigate you these past months and found plenty of evidence of your affairs. I thrust out a photo of Robert meeting with an unknown woman. What is this? He stammered. An affair is a valid reason for divorce, so I will be demanding alimony from you. With undeniable evidence in front of him, Robert had no choice but to agree to my terms and sign the divorce papers and the alimony agreement. With the two documents in hand, I packed up and left our home. Later on, Robert and his mother dismissed Catherine from her position, making Robert the president of the company. They also fired Zach, and his mother took over the accounting as she used to. After being dismissed, Catherine tried to find another job, but her high expectations made it difficult. Apparently, she's now working part-time and is the butt of jokes among her friends. Zach, who was only with Catherine for her money, moved on to another woman once she started working part-time, and Catherine was quickly dumped. With Robert, who lacked leadership skills, and his mother, who had no knowledge of accounting, in charge, the company's performance only declined. Employees started to leave, and the company eventually went bankrupt. Robert and his mother were drowned in debt. I heard Robert's mistress disappeared when she found out Robert was out of money. Robert, who had never worked for a company, could only find part-time jobs and struggled to pay off his debts. He even had to take care of his aging mother, who couldn't work even part-time, leading a difficult life. On the other hand, I regained my old skills and am working competently at the major company. My former colleagues appreciate my return, and I am rightfully rewarded for my hard work, being recognized and valued for my efforts. I've come to realize once again that the best place for me is where I'm needed. I vow to continue to work hard to meet the expectations of those around me.
Hello, everyone. My name is Scarlett. I never thought I would get to share my story, but here I am with a crazy mother-in-law tale. I've used fake names because I have a daughter and don't want to be recognized. To be honest, my story doesn't even start with a crazy mother-in-law. I was married to my high school sweetheart, Daniel, for 3 years. We married young and settled down before I was in my mid-20s. Daniel worked at his father's business, so we were already quite settled. His mother, Jenny, adored me, and along with his brother, Devin, we were one big happy family. Unfortunately, Daniel's dad had passed away when we were still in school, so he wasn't part of our family. Despite this, I had some amazing years with Daniel and his family. But tragedy struck, and I was left with a big hole in my heart. One morning, I got a devastating call from Jenny while I was at work. She said, "Scarlett, I have some terrible news. Daniel got into a car crash. He didn't even make it to the hospital. I'm so sorry, Scarlett. I don't know what to do." My whole world came crashing down. The man I thought would be my life partner passed away too soon. It was a dark time for me and Daniel's family. To make matters worse, I was 5 months pregnant with our child, Lily. Thinking about those days is still painful. Daniel may be gone, but he'll always be a big part of my life. I gave him a part of my heart, and he took it with him when he died. Suddenly, my world changed dramatically. Jenny couldn't cope well with the grief and became fixated on me and my pregnancy. She had this strange idea that Lily was a reincarnation of Daniel. She would constantly call my unborn child her baby and try to make decisions about my body. Dealing with Jenny was a nightmare. She would say, "You better not think about moving on, Scarlett. I'll never let you leave with my child. Lily is always going to be with me and Devin. I have already set up a nursery in my house. She will come live with me when she is born. Devin will be her dad. He is Daniel's brother, after all. Jenny, I know you're having a hard time dealing with Daniel's death. Trust me, I'm just as bad. But you can't control me like this. This is my child, not yours. How dare you say this to me? Lily is my child. I will do everything in my power to keep her with me. Don't you dare think you can take her away. As the days passed, Jenny became extremely unstable. We tried having multiple family discussions about her behavior. We told her, you need to stop being so obsessed with Lily. This is very unhealthy, Jenny. Mom, we are worried about you. You're acting very strangely. I think you should consider therapy. The only one you should worry about is Scarlett. I know this girl. She'll run away with a new man once the child is born. She'll take away Lily and raise her with someone else. Devin, you can't let her do this. She is your daughter too. Mom, you're not making any sense. Daniel is the father of Lily. A new man will not replace him. I'm her uncle, and that's it. I will be there for her, and so will you. But ultimately, she is Scarlett's daughter. Jenny never listened to us. From hosting a baby shower for herself to demanding to be present in the delivery room, Jenny did a lot of things that still give me panic attacks. Devin did his best to control his mother. However, Jenny never improved. The first major trouble she caused was right after I gave birth. She came to my room and asked to hold the baby. When I handed her my daughter, she ran for the door. Luckily, Devin was outside and stopped her with some nurses. From that moment, I knew Jenny couldn't be around my daughter, so I filed a case against her and let the cops handle it. At first, I was hesitant to get a restraining order because I wanted Lily to know her grandma. So I set some boundaries and hoped for the best. But Jenny crossed every line. She tried to take my daughter away several times and even tried to convince Devin and his girlfriend to adopt Lily. They refused because they are sensible people. Jenny also didn't like the fact that I was seeing someone when Lily was 2. The last straw came when she tried to take Lily from daycare without my permission. We found out she had planned to move to a different state. I immediately confronted her in front of Devin. What is wrong with you, Jenny? How many times do I have to tell you that you can't see my child without my permission? Even the courts are with me on this, yet you keep trying to take her away. Lily is my child, and she deserves to be with me. I'll keep her until Devin and his girlfriend get married. Then we will be a happy family. You can go have a new child with your boyfriend. Mom, you can't say or do things like this. We have already told you that Lily belongs to Scarlett. If she marries again, Lily will have a father figure. You don't have to worry about her. No, no, no. This is Daniel's daughter. I won't let anyone else raise her. She is mine and mine only. Scarlett is nothing but a wum. I will take my Lily away from this witch. By that point, I was completely done with Jenny. She never improved and only got worse with time. I was genuinely worried for Lily's safety, so I decided to file a restraining order against Jenny. I knew the restraining order would make her furious, so before she could cause any more damage, I moved to a different country. I took a transfer and left without telling anyone the address. Only Devin knew because he was dependable. Jenny's behavior left a lasting impression on me, and I was always paranoid that she would take my child. The first year after I moved was hell, but I got therapy and decided to get better for my daughter. I also developed a good connection with Carlos, a local resident. He was the reason I moved to the country. Carlos loved my daughter a lot, and they quickly formed a great bond, so I was sure the relationship would work out. Jenny found out about Carlos and tried to call me. You cheating witch. I'm sure you've been cheating. I will never let you live in peace. I'll bring Lily back to me. Just wait. Jenny, I have a restraining order against you. I don't want to do this, but you have left me no choice. If you really love Lily, you should get therapy and get better for her. Don't tell me what to do, Scarlett. I don't need therapy. I only want my baby Lily back. One day, I will take her away from you, and then all you will do is cry. That one phone call was enough to send me into a spiral again. Carlos and my therapist had a tough time soothing my fears. My paranoia skyrocketed, and my world got dark. Somehow, I managed to deal with the situation and kept all these conversations as evidence. Thankfully, with her horrible behavior, I was able to get the restraining order renewed every time it expired. My only solace was that Jenny never knew my new address. For the next few years, things went pretty well for me. I was slowly starting to cope with my mental health problems while dealing with Jenny. I can't begin to tell you how many phone numbers I had to change. When Lily was 6, I married Carlos and began my life with him. Devin and his girlfriend, now fiancée, were invited. However, Jenny was strictly not allowed at the wedding. After Devin went home, he called me about Jenny. He said, "Scarlett, Mom found out about your wedding. I think one of your friends posted a picture and she saw it. She's not happy about this." What do I do, Devin? I'm tired of running from Jenny. Even after years of filing restraining orders, she keeps harassing me. I'm exhausted. Stay strong, Scarlett. I'm doing my best to handle her. I think your marriage and my engagement have given her fresh ideas. I'm afraid she will do something stupid. Don't worry, Devin. I'll be on the lookout. I'm not that naive girl anymore. Jenny can plan as much as she wants, but I won't let her take Lily. I was determined to protect my child. I quickly ordered high security cameras and installed them all around the house. I also briefed Lily's school and babysitter about Jenny so that she couldn't make up weird stories. Carlos was with me through it all. Years of therapy helped me deal with the situation better. While the old me would panic and become paranoid, the new me stayed calm and made plans. I prayed Jenny wouldn't pull any stunts, but I was ready to act if she did. Jenny's last crazy episode happened very soon after. One morning, while I was at the office pulling an overtime shift, I was surprised by a call from Devin. I had no idea why he would call me at work, and my stomach was in knots as I picked up the phone. Devin sounded panicked and said, "Scarlett, you have to listen to me. This is serious. Mom just left me a message that she's bringing back Lily. I know they will never allow that, and I'm afraid she will do something stupid." What the hell, Devin? I never gave her permission to take Lily. We have a restraining order against her. I think Mom is planning to kidnap Lily and bring her to my house. I've tried to change her mind, but I'm afraid she will run away with her if I push her too much. You need to stop her before she takes Lily. Thank you for telling me, Devin. I have no idea why Jenny still hasn't gotten the hint. Her behavior keeps escalating. She's adamant that Lily should stay with her. Mom is still obsessed with having Lily replace Daniel as her dad, but she's being very unreasonable. I know she needs help, but she refuses to go to therapy. I'm sorry to say this, Devin, but this time I don't think I can forgive her. If she really tries to kidnap my daughter, I will be sending her to jail. Devin understood my stance and promised to be in touch in case something went wrong. Meanwhile, I started to plan a trap for Jenny. I knew that even if I left work right then, I wouldn't be able to reach home on time. So, I picked up my phone and made a call. Then I simply sat back and waited for Jenny to show up. I had a small hope that Jenny wouldn't be this crazy, but it turns out she truly was. My house has security cameras covering the entire place, so I was able to watch everything while driving back home with a friend. As I watched Lily play on the lawn, I spotted Jenny making an entrance. Jenny actually tried to take my daughter. I was enraged by her behavior. Even after everything, she wanted to ignore the court and take my child. She did it in the afternoon, knowing I wouldn't be home. However, she didn't know one thing about my life. Carlos and I had gotten married 6 months ago, and Lily's new stepfather was watching everything from inside the house. As soon as Jenny snatched up Lily, she cried out for Carlos, who immediately came and blocked the front door. Through the security camera, I saw Jenny go completely white as a ghost. My daughter fought off her arms and ran straight to Carlos. There was one thing Jenny didn't know about the new man in my life. Carlos was a police officer. To be precise, he was the sheriff of our county. Jenny took one look at him and her jaw dropped, especially because he was still in his police uniform. He had just come back from work and was spending time with my daughter before I came home. The call I made from the office was to Carlos. He picked up my daughter from school and stayed home until I got back. Jenny stupidly thought I would leave my daughter unsupervised. Instead, she found a living and breathing cop stationed at my house. I heard Carlos say, "What are you doing here, Jenny? I know you were Scarlett's mother-in-law. I'm interested to know what brings you here." "I'm here for my grandbaby. It's time she spent time with me." "Who the hell are you? And where is my grandbaby?" "First of all, you are not supposed to be in this house. I also know that you don't have any visitation rights with Scarlett's daughter. I suggest you tell me your intentions since there are cameras in the house. Who the hell are you? Why are you in this house around my granddaughter? You're not supposed to be here. I won't allow an unknown man to be near my granddaughter." "I am not an unknown man. I'm her stepfather, and I have every right to be here. You are not supposed to be here since you have trespassed into my house, tried to kidnap Lily, and violated restraining orders. I have already called my mates to come and arrest you." No, you cannot arrest me. I'm not doing anything wrong. My granddaughter belongs to me and Devin. I won't let Scarlett let a stranger raise Daniel's daughter. Only Devin is fit to be her dad. Listen to me, Jenny. You need to step away from this house right now. The cops will come and arrest you if I don't do it myself. Jenny kept arguing with Carlos while I hurried home to them. My friend from work drove me to my house, and as I watched the confrontation, Carlos warned Jenny that she would face serious consequences if she didn't leave. But Jenny decided to continue arguing. As soon as I reached the house, Jenny started shouting at me. She said, "You witch, you intentionally married a cop so that you can take away my granddaughter. This is all you're planning. I always knew you were a total witch." Calm down, Jenny. You keep forgetting that my cop husband is right in this house. Believe it or not, he will arrest you if you keep harassing us. I won't go down so easily. I'll tell everyone that you were cheating with Carlos before Daniel died. I will ruin your reputation and take Lily. Carlos, you can add harassment and slander to Jenny's list of offenses now. Looks like she won't stop. Just then, the rest of the cops arrived. They came inside the house and spoke to Carlos about the situation. When Carlos and I gave our statements, Jenny threw another fit. She started screaming and crying about how unfair and selfish we were being. You are a vile woman, Scarlett. You want to keep me away from Lily. You have no respect for Daniel's memories. Why can't you just give Devin my granddaughter? He's the only one who should be her dad. She is my granddaughter. I have the right to decide who raises her. The courts are wrong. I deserve to be with Lily. She deserves to be in my family. I won't let her stay with you. Jenny took that opportunity to attack me again. Yes, this crazy lady tried to assault me in front of my cop husband and friends. She was immediately restrained, and Carlos looked extremely pissed off. He spoke with his colleagues, and in a few seconds, Jenny was taken away in cuffs. She did try to fight those officers, which added another offense to her already big criminal record. After everything happened, I took some time off work to be with my daughter. She was still traumatized by everything, especially by the way Jenny tried to grab her and run. Even I am exhausted from dealing with Jenny and had a hard time balancing everything. Carlos has been a huge support to both me and Lily. Lily has even started to call him Dad. She does know about Daniel, but she also sees Carlos as a father. I'm so happy that my little girl is finally starting to have a normal life. Devin and I talked in detail about what went down. He apologized for his mother's behavior multiple times. I assured him that none of this is his fault, and he shouldn't take Jenny's blame. He continues to visit us every week to spend time with Lily and my family. He has since uninvited Jenny from his wedding and is planning to go no contact with her. Speaking of Jenny, she will be spending time in jail by now. She has managed to work towards an impressive list of charges that keeps getting worse. From what Carlos has told me, she will likely face fines along with a short prison sentence. She's tried her best to turn the judge against us, but even the lawyer knows she's a lost cause. We're still waiting for the final hearing, so I can't share all the details of the court proceedings. However, it looks like me, Carlos, and Lily will finally have some peace away from my crazy ex-mother-in-law.